Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you here today. If you want to follow along, we will be back in the book of Acts today in the 22nd chapter. Going to continue to look at Paul's speech to the people as he uh, defends himself or attempts to defend himself against the charges of him being a troublemaker, of being of disrespecting or not following the law of Moses. And so he's out speaking to the people, and going to learn several things here as part of this story. It says, in one Ananias, a devout man according to the law, well spoken of by all the Jews who lived there. It's an important line right there. Came to me and standing by me said to me, Brother Saul, receive your sight. And at that very hour I received my sight and saw him. And he said, the God of our fathers appointed you to know his will, to see the righteous one, and to hear a voice from his mouth. For you will be a witness for him to everyone of what you have seen and heard. And now, why do you wait? Rise and be baptized and wash away your sins, calling on his name. Paul does something here that probably most of us have found to be important in our life, and that is having a good friend or good someone to kind of vouch for us and to stand up for us, to have our back. And for Paul, it was his relationship with Ananias, and he tells them about, he calls on Ananias and calls on their knowledge of Ananias, and says, Ananias was a good man. Everybody knows he was a good man. His character was beyond reproach, and he wouldn't have said or he wouldn't have been by my side. He wouldn't have helped me if I was a bad man. He tells us here. He says Ananias was a devout man and a God-fearing man is what he means, and that he lived by the law of Moses. He was a servant of God. That he is again, his reputation is beyond reproach. That everybody that knows him speaks well of Ananias. He's well spoken of by all the Jews, and so again, he's saying, you may not know me, but you know my friends. You know the type of people, you know the type of person that Ananias is, and how he stands beside of me, and that he's that kind of person, and so. You know that you may not know me. You form some opinions about me, but based on what you know about Ananias, you should know that he wouldn't stand beside of me. He wouldn't stand up for me. He wouldn't help me if he was a bad man. And he goes on then, and speaking of himself, he says, this good man that you all know recognized my calling. He recognized the fact that God was planning on using me. And so he's just attaching himself to Ananias, and just reminds us then of the importance of being sure, being confident, being careful of our associates who we hang around with, who we run with, who we're identified with. I know, not proud of it now, but when I go back to my teenage years, I'm certain that there were a lot of people who formed a wrong opinion of me because of some of the people I hung around with. That they were involved in some things that I was not, but I was associated with them, and so that hurt my character, hurt my reputation by those affiliations. And I think that's something that as Christians, that we have to be very careful of. We don't want to, there's a very fine line for us to walk. We've got to be associated, we've got to know lost people. How else can we reach them? And so it's important for us to have those relationships with people who don't know Christ. But it's important that we guard that relationship so that people don't read something into it that is not there. We need to be sure our character and our testimony stays above reproach, even while having relationship with lost people. And that's a real challenge, I think. I think it always has been. I don't think that's anything new that we deal with. But we just see in Paul here that he calls on the people's knowledge of Ananias. And then I think the flip side of that is we need to be that kind of friend to some other people. We defend them, that we have their back, that we stand behind their testimony when we know it to be true. And so that's a real challenge for us. It's a real challenge for believers today. Again, it always has been, for that matter, to have lost friends, relationship with people who don't know Christ. That we're trying to ultimately lead to the Lord and have some impact on their life without their lifestyle rubbing off on us and causing people to have the wrong impression about us. We know it's always been an issue, but think about it today. How can you walk that tightrope? How can I be a Bible talks about Jesus as a friend to sinners. How can I be a friend to sinners without without staining my own testimony? And that's the challenge we have every day that we go out and about in public, is being a good witness, a friend to somebody who doesn't know Christ, whose lifestyle may not be above reproach, while keeping our testimony spotless. So that's our challenge. It's a challenge that you have today, and that you can reach the lost without damaging your own testimony. You think about it. Love for you to put in the comment section any thoughts you might have. How can believers have relationships with and reach the lost while protecting their own testimony? It's a tough walk, but that is our assignment. Have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.